You know, throughout that offseason, I heard so many MFs and, you know, why are you here? And, you know, all that good stuff. Because I'm a walk-on. I'm considered a body at this point. And, you know, I'm working out with those guys. And what I held on to was...
Say, how's the fam?
How's the fam?
Hey, what's going on, family? Welcome back to How's the Fam, and I'm joined by a good friend, church member, low-key a member of my small group, and like, man, we just been doing so much life together. Daryl Stevenson, everybody. Daryl, welcome to the show.
How y'all doing?
Yo, Daryl, I gotta let you introduce yourself to the family, man, as best as you know how. So you can give them the quick and dirty, you can give them the long run. It's on you.
I give them the quick because we about to get into it, but I'm Daryl Stevenson. You know, been living out here in this Rockwall County for probably about 6 years now, and you know, gotten to know Tyler and my whole church family at Rockwall Friendship. So, you know, we just been blowing and going, so it's been all good.
Yeah, it's been a good life so far, but I ain't gonna even lie. It's been the fastest 7 years.
Oh man,
of my life.
Man, I always feel like I've just been getting here, but you know, I look up at my son. We got here when he was about a year and a half, and now he's 7. He's 7, and I got my little girl. He's 7. He turned 7 in October. So
you don't have to play tackle now.
I ain't putting him in tackle, but yeah, I'm gonna wait a minute.
I got you. All right, y'all. Y'all know the flow. Today we're actually going to be talking about fatherhood. We're going to be talking about collegiate athletics, coaching, and a whole just gambit of other topics. Right. But before we get into it, we have a segment called Just Checking In. Okay. Now, Just Checking In is exactly what it sounds like. It's just us checking in with the family, making sure everything is good. All right. I'll let you come up with a story. I'll go first. Cool?
Yeah, that works.
Cool. All right. So my Just Checking In story is we had a youth event last night at the church. It was like incredible. I mean, it was a movie night, but at the end of the movie night, we did a surprise for the kids who showed up. And it was this epic, like, we pretty much brought Whoville to the church. So we had the inflatable slide.
Oh, okay.
We had the obstacle course. We had double bounce houses, the train. Like the snow, like what do you call it? The fake snow?
Yeah.
I think that fake snow is shaving cream. Y'all let me know.
I don't know what that is.
Bro, it was like he got on the floor and like stuck, but it wasn't slippery. Like it was dope. And like we had video games, so it was awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So if the people who missed out on that, I was just like, man, we got to do a better job.
Y'all come up with funny Whoville names?
Bro, Angela thought of all of it. And I was just like, this was the best event we've had at the church. Like at the church, that's cool. The best event we've ever had.
That's cool.
And like it was a good turnout, but we got to make sure we get more people in. So I'm going to work on that. But that's my Just Checking In story. I got to let the family know. Now, what you got for the people?
One of my first freshman basketball game at Roy City. In a nail biter, 23-17. It's the lowest scoring basketball game I've been a part of, man. But them kids worked hard, so I was happy about it. And they were good. You would have thought they won the NBA championship, so it was all good. So
well, congrats to you and congrats to them, man. That's awesome. I didn't know you was coaching all that, bro.
Yeah, that's a second sport. So when football is over, varsity football is over, I'm on to freshman basketball. So
all right, that'd be the first thing we talk about. Then we're gonna get back to coaching, but that has been Just Checking In. All right, and y'all. We have a sponsor for today's episode, and that is Pray, Plan, Execute, okay? Pray, Plan, Execute is a faith-based athleisure brand, all right? And it's for the people, man. It's for those who want to wear their faith out loud. It's for those who understand that in order to accomplish God's most pressing things, and like in order to accomplish your purpose, that is, right? In order to find fulfillment, you must pray, then you must plan out what you are trying to accomplish, and then you got to execute it, man. You got to go out there and make it happen, right? And for those who understand that, some of us need a reminder. Some of us need daily reminders. And so I have a shirt right here. This is actually one of my favorite shirts. Darryl, you've seen me wear this more than yeah. I wear this shirt all the time, and it is still perfectly fine. No pit stains, no nothing, okay? Now, they have done me a favor, okay? They gave my fam a code. You can go to prayplanexecute.shop. Again, that is prayplanexecute.shop, and you can use code FAM at checkout. Again, use code FAM, F-A-M, at checkout, and get you a special discount just for my people, okay? It's just for my people. Again, Pray, Plan, Execute. It is more than a brand. It is a lifestyle, okay? Now, Daryl, the rest of it is all you, bro. Yeah. I need to know about how you even became, actually, you know what? Before you became a coach, in order to coach, you must be coached. So explain how you got from high school to collegiate athlete to coach? Like, walk us down that path.
Okay, so I mean, I always played football coming up. I played in middle school, and then we transitioned to high school, and then those years in high school, I honestly, to be real honest with you, I didn't have the grades to go to college right now.
You was one of them, bro.
I was hard headed, and it's always a cautionary tale that I tell kids that in high school the academics come first, because it won't matter what size you end up being, how fast you are, all those good things like that. Yeah. You won't get if you don't have the grades to get into college, then you won't go play collegiate football. But I always played in high school, and I played offensive line pretty much my whole career as a player, even on all the way through college. But just having that foundation of high school football, being around some good coaches, it would lead me later on to wanting to be a football coach. But just moving on into college, I had to walk on. Like I said, I didn't have the grades.
Explain the walk-on process for those who don't know.
Okay, so the walk-on process is you enroll yourself as a student, and you're just going to school, and you say, hey, one day I want to go play. So you go to the coach's office, and then you start talking to those guys and try to get onto the team. And for the most part, football teams always need bodies anyway. So, you just become a body. You're not necessarily considered anybody that they're looking to ever be a player for them. But, there are walk-on success stories, and I'm one of those success stories. It's through that walk-on process that, I end up earning my scholarship and starting for a few years for the Texas Southern University.
I'm gonna let them have it. All right.
Yeah. So I started a few years there. Blew out my knee a couple times, and that kind of puts an end to the playing side. But my last year there, my position coach Manuel Martinez, great dude. I learned my most football from that guy. He gave me an opportunity to be a student assistant, be around, run the drills for him, and just be in the meeting still, staying connected to the game, and because it was an abrupt end for me as far as my playing career when I never expected to be out in the first game of my red shirt junior year. So I wanted to stay around the game, and I was really down in the dumps, and so him coming through and let me stay around, stick around, and work with him and work with the same position players. It kind of gave me a bug to go ahead and stay with the game. You might not be able to still impact this thing as a player, but if you want to be around this game, you can still be helpful. You know the game. You were a good player when you played. Great communicator, all those good things like that. Right. And so it led me to coaching, and then transitioning out of that after I graduated from Texas Southern. I'm working for a little while, and then it was actually a weird story how I get there. So they don't tell you after college that you just, unless you setting yourself up while you're in college, you ain't finna do what you finna do.
That's real talk.
In your major. So I just went to the working world, and I'm just working a 9 to 5, and working out real hard after my playing career. Even though I played offensive line, I had dropped a lot of weight and got myself in shape, and so. This is when Instagram is getting hot and stuff like that. And then one of my old teammates that actually transferred out of Texas Southern and was at a whole nother university, I hadn't talked to him in years. And, this is this is part of my testimony of what God can do for you. He hits me up out of the blue. He's like, hey, man, you want to coach? It's like, mind you, this is somebody I hadn't talked to in a long time. He's like, hey, you think about coaching? Because he was already at a university called Oklahoma Baptist University.
He was doing it.
Okay, so
I was like, university coaching,
Yeah, so he contacted me, and I did a little interview process over the phone, and next thing I know, I'm getting a plane ticket from my stepfather, and he sent me on the plane, and I end up in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I ain't never stepped foot in Oklahoma.
I ain't never even heard of that before.
Man, what? So, I ain't never stepped foot in Oklahoma, and I hop that plane, and I'm not the type to just jump on the plane and be, start somewhere by myself. But I went out on that limb. God was pressing me towards that, and I did that, and it set me up for eventually finishing up my teacher certification that I had started years before, and then getting into the high school realm. And that first high school job is the job that brought me to Rockwall.
Dude, there are so many layers that I want to unpack that you mentioned. So many. All right, I do want to start with let's start with what it takes to be a person who doesn't necessarily make it into the college, but has to walk on to the team. Like, what's the mindset you have to even accomplish that? I mean, you already said, it's football, they need bodies, but you were one of the people who transitioned to the actual field starting position. So what does it take to do that?
Okay, so, and this is how good God is. And when I reflect on these things, I start thinking about it, because y'all don't tell my story that often, and I'm starting to think about it as I'm about to tell you. It's like, my grades were atrocious.
Why?
My grades were atrocious. It wasn't until about my senior year, and you kind of look in your mama's face, you're 17, 18 years old, and you're like, boy, you got to do something. You better do something, because my lock's about to be changed here in a minute. But I kind of got it together there to the point where I at least get my high school diploma. And then luckily I entered TSU at a time where they're transitioning from a bunch of foolishness at the time, and so they had open enrollment at the university.
Nice.
So it didn't. By the grace of God, it didn't require no entry requirements to get in. So I enrolled myself, and I enrolled myself in full-time schedule, 12 hours, and I'm just taking classes. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, understanding that now you're paying for this.
Yeah, that is the difference.
You're paying for this now, so you better be on the ball and be on the task. So I was, and just going to class day to day, commuting back and forth from my mom's house to the university. And
how long is that commute?
It's about 25 minutes. It's about 25 minutes up the highway. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. Texas Southern, if you don't know anything about Texas Southern, sits right across the street from the University of Houston. They share a common street. So Texas Southern on one side, University of Houston on the other side.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It's something serious. But yeah, I'm going to class, I'm going to school, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And then actually one day, the head football coach and the offensive coordinator, they see me walking up the target walk, and they're gonna keep a track of who's actually playing for them, and they see this big, 6'3", 300-pound guy walking up the target walk, and they're like, "Hey son, you want to come play? You want to come play football?"
It's like in the movie.
Yeah. Like, "Hey son, you want to come play football?" And I was already considering it, because I was I wasn't the greatest student, like I've been saying, but I was already considering it because I needed something to go along with just going to class and then going to work. And I was like, okay, there's got to be more purpose for me while I'm here. So, I went. That happened, and then I went up to the coach's office, and we talked about it. And he said, come on out. We work out these days. It was the off season. It was the springtime. The winter time. And they were going through off season. It was like, okay, just come on, join. You can work out. And
so at that point, do you get the scholarship?
No. The scholarship is about a year and a half away.
Oh, okay.
So I go through off season. I'm in terrible shape. I had been out of high school for about 2.5 years at this point. I didn't enroll back in college till I was about 21.
Okay.
And so, I'm in terrible shape. I'm a big dude. I've been going to the local gym and stuff, lifting weights and stuff, but
it ain't like.
But when that running, when that conditioning, the conditioning is something different. So,
straight to the conditioning coaches.
Oh man, I heard, throughout that off season, I heard so many MFs and why are you here and all that good stuff. Because I'm a walker, I'm considered a body at this point, and I'm working out with those guys. And what I held on to was, okay, just let me get to the football pads. Let me get to the football pads.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm better than this guy, and that guy, and I get to the spring, and, I'm in better shape. I dropped some pounds, I'm still pretty strong. And then, I commenced to thrashing the scholarship guys in the spring, to the point enough where I'm traveling the next fall. You know what I'm saying? So that's
nice.
That's what you seek out to be. If you're not even if you are a scholarship kid, everybody doesn't travel with the main squad. So, I did well enough in the spring where I'm traveling with the main squad, going through the season, not playing much. I'm on I'm on the bench, I'm riding the pine, but I'm there every day. I'm working out, I'm with the team. I understand what to do, because in that college football realm, they're going to go with the guys they recruit as much as they can. Even if you feel like you're better, they're going to go with, because they can't be seen as wrong. I brought you all this way. I gave you this money to pay for this uniform. Mind you, I'm paying my way through college, but those guys are on scholarship. And there was a phrase we always had around there: "You still in front of the program." But I make it through that fall, go through another offseason, I get in better shape. There's a change in position coaches. And this guy is a guy who actually gave me an opportunity. The guy I mentioned beforehand, Coach Martinez. He said he asked me, why aren't you playing? Well, why didn't you get in the look? I was, you tell me.
It's like I'm here.
I'm here every day. I know the scheme. I know everything. And he said, well, look, I'm gonna give you every opportunity to win a spot. And he was honest about that. And by that next fall, my sophomore year, I'm a starter. So
that's what's up. So after the injury, right? You played, you started, you got the scholarship, you get injured. Mm-hmm. So at Texas Southern, like, what was the process of, like, the first time? Now, what was the process of recovering you and getting you back on the field?
So my first injury, I made it about 3 games, and then midway, really about the third quarter I always remember vividly, the third quarter of the third game, I slipped and I feel a pop, and I'm like, what is this? Because it's a weird. It didn't hurt. It was just a weird feeling. Like, that's strange. All right, and then I get up. I think I even play the next play, and then we punt, and I come off the field, and they feel around on my knee, and try to understand what it is, and then ultimately it ended up being a torn ACL. And that pretty much puts me out for the rest of the year. So I mean, by the time I reached the off season, I get the surgery done early, after really about a month after I actually injured myself. I get the surgery done, and I just started in on the rehab process. It was my first real injury. If you're a bigger, stronger, faster kid in high school, you usually can make it through without getting an injury. You get hurt, you get nicked up, but college is when I faced a real injury, and it took reconstruction surgery. So I have the surgery, I get it done, and I just hit the off season running. I'm just trying to get myself rehab that thing, and I actually make it back the following spring. About 9 months or so. Being fully cleared and getting back on the field and playing. That's
awesome, man. All right, I'm gonna ask you one more football question, then we're gonna get into the other side. Because Daryl is more than football, I promise y'all. But he just knows the game so intimately, and like he's seen every avenue of playing the sport. Now I wanted people to know, like, it's like this is what it looks like to do these different parts. So, what part of football did you like the most? Like, you were a student. You've been a watcher, you've been a player at multiple levels, and now you are a coach. Like, what part of football, like, did you most enjoy? And like, what part of football kind of like keeps you? What about football kind of just keeps you in the sport?
I enjoyed the physicality of football. I liked imposing my will on people. That was
imposing my will. I like that.
I mean, that's the nature of the position that I played in college. So imposing my will on people, and dominating another person, that's what I enjoy. But as a coach and later on in my career, I enjoy the intellectual aspect of football. The chess match, the planning, trying to find a way to beat somebody, trying to scheme a way to beat somebody, and I enjoy that intellectual aspect of it. And football is a beautiful game. If you know what's happening, it's a beautiful game. It's an artwork to it. It's an artwork to. I'm an offensive guy, so it's an artwork to that. Building those parts, those 11 parts into one whole thing that tries to score a touchdown. So that's what I enjoyed about it.
That's awesome, man. Now we're gonna transition into a different part of your story, right? And the part of your story that is like more or less like you finding your happily ever after, in terms of like you're finding your wife and like then becoming a parent. And like Daryl's one of the parents that rivals me. I'm like, I feel like I'm a good parent, but like Daryl, bro, you're a different beast when it comes to being a parent. So let's talk about how you met your wife first, and then we'll talk about transitioning into into parenthood.
So I mean, a lot of football is my story, and it is the way I met my wife. Going out to Shawnee, Oklahoma from Houston, Texas.
Oh, that's where y'all met.
And I actually met her in another town. So the guy who brought me to Oklahoma Baptist University, he took me to a football game. Mind you, this is Shawnee, Oklahoma. This is Oklahoma. Period. It's still almost the twilight zone from me coming from a city that has more people than the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It was weird to be in these small towns, but
that's fair.
He's harassing me about going to a football game outside of the town. I'm like, look, man, I don't want to go to it. I don't know where this town is. I've never been here.
Yeah.
But he played at a school called Southern Arkansas University, which was in a conference that played a school called East Central.
Okay.
And so he took me to this game that was featuring Southern Art. His alma mater was playing ECU that day. And so, we went out there to that town. It's a town called Ada, Oklahoma. And we go and we watch the game, and I'm like, man, can we go? Can we go? Can we head back? It's nighttime. The town's about 50 minutes away. I'm like, the town's about 50 minutes away. There's deers on the road. I'm not used to these things. So, so we, hey man, let's go to the restaurant. So we end up at an Applebee's in that town, which end up being like the main spot after the games for East Central.
Makes sense.
And so, we're hanging out, and I have some adult beverages. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I ain't gonna lie. So I have some adult beverages, and then, there's a woman across the bar, and at this point, I'm a single man, and I hadn't talked to anybody or anything like that, and so I'm trying to get her attention, and she's looking at a TV screen. And years later, she'll tell you that, I saw you out the corner of my eye, but I wasn't going to look at you because I wasn't trying to.
Women be playing chess masters too, bro.
They do. They do. So, I'm trying to be sexy, and I'm trying to look, I'm looking over there, trying to. But eventually, her friend that she's with comes over because she wanted to talk to my friend, and we go over there. We start a conversation. Mm-hmm. There wasn't no pickup lines or anything like that.
That's fair. Just genuine conversation.
I said, hello, my name is Daryl. She told me her name. We talked for a while. And then, we kind of go our separate ways that night. Me and my buddy, we go back to our university, and time progresses on. We go through the football season. It wasn't until after the football season where I contacted her. We kept up a little bit through text message.
Oh, okay. I was like, is he answering?
It wasn't a total ghost thing. It was a few days after that I did contact her, and we kept up through text message. But we didn't. In the world of college football, there's not a lot of time during the football season for you to have a social life. You know what I'm saying? We just found the time that day to be in Ada, Oklahoma. But we kept it through text message, and then finally had an opportunity to talk with her in person, hang out, and we realized that we really enjoyed each other's company.
That's what's up.
And from there we
one thing leads to another.
One thing leads to another, and then we're eventually married, and we move out here to Rockwall. So.
It's funny. I often ask people, like, was it marriage? Like, what was it? Is it love at first sight, or you had me at hello? And for this, it seems like it's what? Which one? Neither. She'll say it was different when I came over, and it felt different than any other encounter that I had. I was, it just felt normal. It felt normal. Felt regular. It felt good to have a conversation with a person and kind of be on the same wavelength. And I feel you.
If you believe in soulmates, then we're soulmates, you know.
That's fair. That's funny. I just had Julian Luke on the podcast. He was like, "No, I don't believe in the one. I believe in the one you make it work with." I was just like, Julian, man, why you always trying to like start these fights?
Yeah. Look, I ain't gonna say I can't say all that.
That like your story of like it being different that resonates because like I've done multiple interviews at this point, and like a lot of people just be like, "Yo, this one was different," you know. And so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so. You are comfortable, like, all right, you're in a relationship now. You've already gone to, like, multiple different towns just as a single man and been like, yo, I can go to this town, I'll be all right. So now you're married and you're still progressing in your your coaching career.
Right.
And you're like, hey, honey, wife, it's like, I need to move here to progress my career. Like, what does that conversation look like every time that you do it? Because this has happened more than once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have our son. We have our son early on, Carter. You know, he was born in 2014, and we're still in Oklahoma. By this point, though, we're living together. I'm commuting back and forth to this town. It's about 50 minutes away. Okay. But he was born prematurely, and so I actually leave Oklahoma Baptist to be in the same town with her, and you know, helping her through that because with him being premature, he's about 3 pounds.
Oh wow! How premature was he? Like
he was 5 weeks. He was 5 weeks early. He was 5 weeks early. And if you know him, you can understand he was in there pulling on stuff, pulling on plugs, pulling on umbilical cords, and all kind of stuff, and getting himself released from the womb. You know, we're living together, and I pick up a little job in that town, and this is about the point where I'm like, okay, this is not what I can continue to do. In years previous, before I actually ever had the Oklahoma Baptist job, I had initiated a teacher certification program to actually coach high school sports.
Gotcha.
And so it's about that point where I aggressively pick up trying to get done with that program. And I ultimately do end up completing that program, which made me certified to teach in Texas. And, you know, I go on a series of interviews, coming back and forth from Ada sits about 2 hours from the border of Texas.
Okay.
Actually about 2 hours from Farmersville, which is about 30 minutes north of Rockwall. Okay. And so I'm coming back and forth. My first interview is actually in Farmersville, but according to the teacher program, I couldn't do what they offered me to do. So I had to.
It's interesting.
Yeah. The way Texas works with your teacher certification, and if you're in an alternative certification program, which I was in, I wasn't going to be certified through a university. I'm through a program. So
that's interesting.
There's a certain amount of hours in things that you're certified in that you have to do in that first year. And so what Farmersville was offering me, I didn't actually have to teach the class that I was certified in. It was, it's a little 3A, 3A high school. So I'm like, oh man, what are y'all doing to me right now? But it actually brings me, so it all the way through that summer. It wasn't until about July that I get in contact with the head coach at Rockwall Heath High School. And if you know anything about the hiring process in Texas high school, July is really late. Like guys about to get started in August. So
y'all aggressive out here.
Yeah. So he had someone leave, and he needed to fill the spot. I sent him my resume, and he was scratching his head like, why is this guy available? So you know, I went through the interview process. I say interview, it was just a few conversations, and you know, he probably already had it on his mind he was going to hire me. So you know, I get hired, and you know, just going back to my wife, she was already, you know, her dad lives in DeSoto, and you know, she had been coming back and forth throughout her childhood to spend time there and then spend time in Oklahoma. So she was familiar with Texas, and if there was any place she wanted to go, it was Texas. And so, you know, God made it work out in that way that, you know, we found this good town of Rockwall, and you know, I got that Rockwall Heath job, and you know,
that must have been, man. If you're gonna be a football coach, it feels like Texas would be the state that you want to be.
It is, and you know, I had other university offers, but the way college football works, you're not gonna make no money until you're at one of these Power 5 schools.
That makes sense.
You can't make a living wage. You can't make. I was offered, some lodging and a salary, but I got a kid, I got a wife now. I got I got these 2 lives I got to protect and take care of, and support, and those kind of offers weren't. It wasn't feasible. I couldn't do it.
That's fair.
And going to Rockwall Heath had a salary that I could take.
Explain that to me. Like, all right, you are a teacher, you are a coach, and you do support your family. So like the responsibilities of a Black father in America. Like, just walk us through like your mindset in terms of like, I'm moving to Texas. I'm making this happen. My family's gonna be okay, or I will die trying. Like, walk us through that.
So I didn't have my biological father. He was in and out of the picture, coming up, for a lot of my years, probably till I was about 11 or 12.
Now, who he is, though.
Yeah. No, I know my father. I carry his name and all that stuff. But he's just in and out of the picture. It's one of those generational fatherless niggas. He didn't have his dad in the picture, and he wasn't in my life. But I was blessed enough to have another man step up and raise me in those years that mattered. In those from those tween years of 12, all the way through.
Were you resistant to that, or were you like?
You just kind of apathetic. You just kind of go through this is this man that's with my mom, and I'm not hearing that stuff. But I'm a visual person, and I seen the work you put in, and I seen, okay, he's giving my mom a different life. Yeah. And so
even as a child, you were like, you know what?
Children see everything that goes on, even though they might not say anything. And I wasn't a big talker growing up, but you see those things. And so, I saw the work that he was doing, but we don't share a common culture. He's a Nigerian man.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he's a Nigerian man.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was a Nigerian man. And, I'm an American boy growing up in the hood, so that's where we clashed, sometimes we almost, I'll tell you a story real quick. We almost got into it because of saying the word "what" when I answered them. And in different cultures that means something different.
Keisha don't like that. Like, I don't necessarily care, but
and I'm the same way. If my son answers me "what," I say, "Huh." Who? Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
You all right. Like, my own kids, I do. I don't want them to say what to me.
It's just something that wells up. Huh? What are you doing? Yeah. You get stunned. But, and that was an encounter we had, and then I understood, the cultures don't share the same, they don't even share the same vernacular. So, there's a certain respect, that you got to have for one another. And, I saw the work that he was doing, and, I came to respect him, and, I treat him as the one that's my father, and raised me. So a lot of how I carry on, as a father, I get from him, and growing in my relationship with the church and God and understanding those things. I try to move in that way as well. But I try to mesh both, with the God, with the God part first, and leading in that way, but also, the discipline, the hard work that I learned from him, going to work every night, overnight, supporting our household, supporting my sisters. I do carry some of that with me, and then just kind of formulating your own style as well. And,
that's what's up, man. That's a lot. Like, I didn't. You essentially transitioned from single motherhood to high school athlete, college athlete, and now you coach the very kids that probably look exactly like you.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. I didn't realize that's a long journey to take. And so he was the example. He was pretty much the blueprint that you use for your marriage now.
Right.
And have you altered to that blueprint any? Like, what does that look like for you?
Well, yeah.
How do you tailor the blueprint to fit for you?
I mean, obviously I'm an American kid, and, he's a Nigerian man, but there was always respect and reverence for my mom, and what she does. And in my marriage, I carry on that way. I love my wife, and I respect her in the highest sense, wouldn't do anything to ever hurt her or anything like that. So, you know, I put her up high, and you know, and that's just kind of how I move. You know, I want to be a strong leader. I want to be a strong husband, and you know, show that hard work is the way to do this thing. So
Okay, so we're about to wrap up in just a few. I do have a few more questions for you in terms of, like, believe it or not, Daryl, you already talked about, like, you used to be, what was the weight?
At my highest playing weight, I was about 350.
Like 350, and now he sits here skinnier than me. Actually, we're about the same size, but you muscle. I'm a hybrid.
Nah, man. We all trying to make it.
Yeah. So what advice do you have to people who they finished their college career, they got all this weight on them, and now it's like, hey, it's like, you got to transition to being a civilian again. Yeah. What advice do you have for people making that transition?
Well, just about the nature position that I played, I had to always be bigger. And, you know, once I was done, it's like, okay, I don't need to hold on to this. And, you know, it's not always the healthiest thing, even though my body was constituted in a different way, you know, it's not healthy to be that heavy. So, you know, just going back to the kitchen and doing it the right way and making sure I'm getting 4 to 5 times a week exercising and just moving and not living a sedentary lifestyle, you know, that takes care of a lot. So
that's what's up, man. That's great. I feel like I'm leaving something on the table. Is there anything on this interview that you feel like needs to be added to complete the story of Daryl?
Oh man, I mean, if you ever see me in the community, I mean, I'm an open book. You know, I didn't grow up that way of wanting to talk to everybody, but you know, through my experiences and through the nature of the sport that I do, both collegiately, high school, you know, I enjoy talking to people. So and helping people with any issues they might have or just getting people through.
Yeah, you know, it's wild. Anytime you're a teacher, you're more or less like you are a community leader, right? So, and now you're not only a teacher, like you a coach. So it's like these kids are going to remember you just like you remember your coach from college. They're going to remember you forever in perpetuity.
Well, I just try to get back to the community that raised me up. So
that's what's up, man. All right, so we like to end these podcasts with a segment called Words of Encouragement, okay? Words of Encouragement is exactly what it sounds like, where we share some words of encouragement for the people. So I'm going to clean this up, and I'm gonna let you think of your words of encouragement. I will go first, and you just think of something to give the people. All right, and he a coach, so he definitely gonna have the better one. All right. Well, all that being said, you guys, thank you guys for making it this far into the podcast. Make sure you share it with somebody who can find value in it and who can truly appreciate what was said here. Right. Also, make sure you leave a like. Make sure you leave those reviews because we read all reviews. Okay. And lastly, hey, leave a comment below saying what the most impactful thing that was said in this podcast, along with what you would like to hear in the next episode, okay? And make sure you guys check out our sponsor, Pray, Plan, Execute. Remember, you can go to prayplanexecute.shop. Use code FAM, F-A-M, at checkout to get your discount. And my words of encouragement are, so even if you have to crawl, make it to the finish line, all right? It's like the journey won't look pretty, all right? I've never started something and been the best person at it, ever. It always takes time, it takes preparation, it takes study, it takes learning, it takes doing it bad and figuring out what was bad about it so that you can fix it. The journey looks ugly. And yeah, you may start at a walk, sometimes you'll sprint, but even if you have to crawl, make sure you make it past the finish line, okay? Make it past the finish line by any means. All right, Daryl, what words of encouragement you got for the people?
Man, I just say be you, do you, and it'll get you through. And just keep God first, all right?
That's what's up, y'all. Y'all heard it from here. Y'all check out Daryl. Also, fam's all good. Y'all be blessed.